Good morning, everybody. Today is March 7th, 2021, and we are going to be taking a look at the altcoins. So first things first, we're going to take a look at Cardano. So this is Cardano on the weekly chart. Cardano's been looking pretty good. All things considered, this run-up has not been extremely violent. It's been really consistent. We have, however, made this fanning pattern, which I think we're probably going to touch, we're going to use next week's candle to touch the base of. So this is kind of what I'm paying attention to. The daily chart is a little more important for Cardano. And the reason I say that is that we are on a 6 of 9. Now, I think we may be able to print our 9. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so that's 8, that's 9. We can run sideways off this and stay below this 2297 number, and we would clear our 9. Now we would break this trend, unfortunately. That's intact, but let's see if we can adjust this fanning line so that way it's just about, okay, so 1, 2, 3. There you go. You can have your 9 and still stay within this trend. I am not concerned on Cardano. Cardano is looking great. This is just a nice correction that we've seen. Bitcoin popped over the night. I just saw that in the ticker section. All right. Now let's take a look at LBRY, because I have these. I'm just going to go around the chart. Oh, nope. LBRY. LBRY is stuck in what I had assumed was a descending triangle, but after looking at it over and over again, I've kind of come to the conclusion that we are in this symmetric triangle, and we've just been playing in this area. Now, I was expecting or hoping for a move off this 4 to give us a 9 down here in this 270 range. That didn't happen. We did, however, make a giant Darth Maul doji right here, which is this red 1 candle that you're seeing. That thing did wick all the way down to 271. Missed my buy order, but that's still pretty impressive. These candles are looking bearish. There's no volume, but they are bearish. The wicks on the top are very strong. However, there's no sell pressure to drive down the price right now, and I think that's because it's trading sideways, and that's in relation to Bitcoin. Now let's go take a look at BAT, Basic Attention Token. Now Basic Attention Token's chart looks a little cluttered. Let me move some of this stuff. I'm going to hide the drawing tools real quick. So BAT's on a 7. We're on a 7 and 9 on the weekly. I think we're going to get our 9. Now, where can we get our 9 to? Well, 1, 2, 3. So our 8 is going to 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our 9 is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as we're closing above this 1162 number, we'll print a 9 on the weekly chart for BAT. BAT back tested this previous low, and got rejected. That's not good on the weekly chart. BAT has been looking a little rough. What I needed to do is I needed to break above 1650 on a closing basis, and then I needed to move up even further from that. Now we can trade sideways, or we can have 3 more weeks of upside. Now I'm expecting this month to be a real I think this is the deciding month on Bitcoin. So wherever Bitcoin goes, if BAT is playing in tandem and keeping up in price, this could trade sideways. If BAT, however, is not rising as fast as Bitcoin, then I am expecting some serious downside to be on the way. All right, now we're going to take a look at Populous. Now, Populous has been a chart that I've looked at for years, and it's been one that I've been paying attention to for a long time. Whatever this was, this either was, and I would imagine this has to be some novice who put the wrong order in, because they wiped out the order book from $3 to $18. They wiped out the order book. Let's make that clear. Now, everyone sold after that to get out of their Populous that they had in a bad trade somewhere around this area. Now, full disclosure, I bought some Populous back in this time frame. Like, it was even earlier than that. I think I bought it off this. Or, I don't know. It was somewhere in March. It was somewhere in 2018. I bought it at a low. And I've just been holding on and accumulating. And, you know, life gets busy and you don't have your chances because it was a long-term investment. And so I've been holding for a long, long time. And seeing that Populous basically just skyrocketed like this and wiped out an order book, and there have just been sellers everywhere on this spectrum to knock the price back down to here, is crazy. I'm going to ignore this candle, but I'm not going to ignore this candle's close. Let's put it that way. I'm going to ignore the top wick of this candle, and I'm only going to pay attention to where the price closes on the Bitcoin chart. This is the weekly, by the way. So this is the daily. The daily was yesterday on a 9, ironically on a 9. Or that's today. That happened today. Let's find out when that happened. That happened within the last 2 hours. Holy Christ. Let's go to the 1 hour. That happened in 1 hour. Let's go to the 3 minute. Let's go to the 5 minute chart. That was one buy order. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. That was just one person buying right there that wiped out the order book. I wish I knew how much volume that was, because that is a disgusting amount of volume. But that is what happens in an illiquid market. If you don't know, you can, if you place a market order, a market buy, and you will just continue to fill your order until your cash runs out, regardless of what the spot price turns into. That is why you have to be careful with market sells and market buys, because you can get a lot less money than you were hoping for. Now, this daily chart is looking very, very bearish, obviously. I would say the normal range that this would have traded in would have been right here. I think the 6 candle is the most normal thing to see. And then, unfortunately, this giant wick to the top is going to force a violent downswing, I do believe. However, I'm going to try to ignore that and just play with what the 6 is. So the weekly chart is my bread and butter for Populous, and I'm just going to be paying attention to where the close is at, and maybe a little bit of shadow. But I'm going to ignore everything else about this candle. Now that we've gone through that, we're going to take a look at Ethereum and Litecoin. So let's pull up Litecoin first, because I have it right there. And I missed my Ethereum. Litecoin is looking pretty good right now. This 6, as long as it closes above the bodies of this 2 and 3, I will consider that Litecoin is in for another move to the upside. And we'll then made a higher closing price off of this higher low. And that's bullish for me. That probably puts me 60-65% odds that we can at least back test and try and break above this 30-period moving average that's kind of sandwiching the price between that and the 50. So Litecoin I am bullish for. I am liking the fact that we are really, really looking like we're going to break on the RSI as well. So those are really good signs for me. Ethereum USD. Ethereum is looking really good as well. Ethereum is challenging. However, Ethereum needs to close above this 30-period moving average. If it can't close above this 30, it's going to get rejected back down to the 50 and see if we're going to retest that. We can consolidate sideways for a little bit and get sandwiched in between these moving averages. I would, however, like to see Ethereum move back to challenge its all-time highs. And let's go take a look at the Litecoin USD Btc Ratio. Now, this is something some people pay attention to, and the way I have this chart set up is it's Litecoin USD from Kraken over Bitcoin USD from Bitstamp multiplied by 1,000. And the reason I multiply it by 1,000 is just so I had whole numbers to work with. And the way the ratio works is that as the price of Litecoin goes up in relation to Bitcoin in US dollar terms, the amount of Litecoin it takes to buy one Bitcoin decreases. And so there's arbitrage you can do between the two assets. It's similar to the gold and silver flip. So here's how I've drawn these metrics. The yellow area is the stable midpoint that you really do want to stay for Litecoin and Bitcoin. Like, this is the most stable, consistent area, has the most candle closes. The red zone for me is where I start to consider that Litecoin is overextended and needs to be put back into Bitcoin. The purple zone is the hyperextension area where I get very, very concerned, and my stops literally start going in like right below where the boundary is between these. So if we're going to keep going up, then my stops just kind of sit there and hover, and then I look for some psychological tops on the individual charts themselves. Now that's on the upside. So the downside, the green zone right here, is where I consider flipping my Litecoin into Bitcoin. And again, my rules are pretty simple. Once you start breaking down into here, you're basically waiting for an area to see if you're going to bounce or you're going to break. And because we broke down into here and we've been playing in this area for so long, people got used to the idea of Litecoin being worth so much less in comparison to Bitcoin. Psychologically, that's what's happened right here, which is why we moved down into the hyperextension zone. Now, the hyperextension zone has only been really played in one other time in the history of Litecoin, and that was during basically February, March, and April of 2017, before that massive spike took Litecoin from, I think it was $40 to $420. So a 10x move, basically, is what happened right there. Now, I've been looking really, really closely, and I drew this wedge here, and this wedge is telling me that that we're getting close. Now, the RSI has been diverging for literally 10 months. For 10 months, the RSI has been diverging to the bullish territory, but Bitcoin has been so bullish, even in relation to Litecoin, that the prices have continued to go down, or the ratio has continued to climb further and further down. Now, this area right here, we almost touched it last time. I do believe we could make it all the way to the end of this wedge with a price relationship between Bitcoin and Litecoin before popping. Do I think that's the most likely outcome? No, I don't. I think the most likely outcome is to see a some type of event, some news coming out for Litecoin. It could be, Visa and MasterCard are moving all their payment processing to the Litecoin network or something like that, something that was hinted about back in 2017. And then all of a sudden you're going to see a massive spike in Litecoin price. And I would say that would drive demand for Litecoin maybe 10x again, to maybe $2,000. I don't believe Ethereum is going to be more valuable in dollars compared to Litecoin if Litecoin has some fundamental adoption principles that are popular with the banking system. I don't believe that. Now, Litecoin is a good test bed network for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin gets thrown around as the king, the gold of crypto, and Litecoin gets thrown around as the silver. And so this is the ratio that I look at. These are the areas I'm paying attention to. I get more and more and more bullish on Litecoin the further down it goes into this hyperextension zone. Now, we've only had one overextension, but we have had this area, which I consider historically significant. And now that we've gotten so close, we may have bottomed. We may have bottomed last week on Litecoin in terms of the ratio between that and Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't mean the price of Litecoin is going up. It just means the ratio between the two is going to change. So I am keeping that very, very firmly in mind. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is looking amazing. This is some of the best stuff I've seen in a long time on Bitcoin, just from a TA perspective. This is so clean. You obviously have this swing high here. You obviously have this swing low. However, your closing low was this red candle. Your closing low was this red 4. One correction, one candle correction, followed by another move. Now this 2, if this 2 can close in the next 5 hours and 45 minutes above the bodies of that 3 and that 4, then I am a huge bull. I think 58,000 is in jeopardy. I think 60,000 is in jeopardy, and I think that this red line that I have trending up right here is going to play out, and I think we are going to be. So right now 58. Right now, if today's candle just wicked up all the way to its top, it makes an all-time high. And what I said before, when I drew this red line and this channel, was that I am bearish inside the channel and under the red line, but I'm bullish outside the channel and below the red line, and I'm extremely bullish above both. So I was extremely bullish here, and you can see that the daily chart didn't diverge. What did, however, diverge was the 4-hour. The 4-hour diverged very, very heavily in this area, which is why I pay much more attention to the 4-hour than I do the daily. However, the daily is looking really, really, really good. The MACD is about to cross back over into the positive territory. Your RSI is basically making a new high off this little double top here. And prices are looking great. You have a 2 going above a 1 as well, going above the candle bodies of the previous swing high. All right, now let's take a look at the 4-hour. The 4-hour is looking good as well. This candle is a little more bearish than bullish. However, it did close above the midpoint of this 4 candles body. That's important to me. Because it closed above the midpoint, I was expecting some more upside. Now, this red line is also very significant. However, we did break our triangle. Because we broke our triangle, we now have a target to look for. So let's look at a percentage target and a price target. So our percentage target is 11.75% from here. So to reach our target price from there, 11.75% is right up to this purple line that I have drawn. This purple line is really what I need to see break on a closing basis on the 4-hour with a whole body. A whole body close has to be above this line in order for me to think that on the 4-hour, we have the momentum necessary to move ourselves up above $58,000. Now, we are coming up with a 9 in the next 12 hours, so expect midnight tonight to be the either the top on this run or at least a place to take profit off of the break of the triangle. Now, I am expecting a 1 to 4 candle correction after this, followed by more upside on the 4-hour. The MACD is positive, and the RSI is now above this midpoint or this best fit line, this green line. And because we're above it and we're kind of riding along just the top of it, we have the potential to move up into this beautiful bullish zone. Now, I like being in this bullish zone. The minute we go into this bullish zone, which happened right on this 2, going above this 1, the minute we went into this bullish zone, I become very bullish from the RSI alone. Now, the RSI tells me we're bullish. The MACD tells me we're bullish. And the MACD and the RSI would have told me we were bullish back here at the beginning of this 2 candle going above the wick of this 1. I would have personally, I didn't take this trade. Just full disclosure. However, where my buy would have been not on the close of this 1 candle. So I would have purchased right above the close of this 1, right here. So this 2 would have potentially, if we traded there only for a blip of a second, I would have missed out. However, I would have had a secondary buy above the swing top on that one candle. So the wick of the one, I would have had a buy order also set on the wick of the one, which is also above the midpoint of the body of this candle. Interesting. Now, how long do I think prices can take us to get back up to a high? We have potentially 7 more days of upside. It looks like we are in a new swing to the upside. We reset the count because of this red 1 right here, which means that going into next week, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So I would expect a move to a price somewhere around $63,000 with a time target somewhere around March 14th. Happy birthday to the old man. And let's see, and that is within 4% of the 1618 target. So here I'm going to adjust this down now, and my target is going to be this 1618 at $62,000 on March 14th. All right. That's about all for now, and I will be talking to you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.